how do you apply load management concept in the athletic training setting? So because of the lack of autonomy in some cases, I'm going to use the college setting as a good example of this. You're a cog in the wheel for the athlete, right? So you have the coaching staff, you have the athletic training staff, and you have the strength staff in most universities. In some places, you'll see those things kind of blend together. Sometimes, strength staff and AT staff will be together. I know they do that in the U.S. military now. But a lot of the times, if you want to take a concept like that and build it, then you have to take a authority role when it comes to the education of the supporting staff and the other staff around you. So we have to start talking to the coaching staff about especially some of the things in field sports like acute and chronic training load, how to manage that sort of thing. We have to start educating the strength staff in legit methods of recovery and actually talking to your athletes about the number one question. And Brett Contreras was on Barbell Shrugged and mentioned this a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. We need to ask the question up front, what have you been doing in training lately? And have your athletes have an understanding that when they come to see you, we talk about load management, that's going to be probably my first question. Mm-hmm. What have you been doing that has put us in a position where you actually have to come see me? So it starts really with the education. And then from there, then it's managing it by cooperating with the other members of the staff, which can be difficult. And that's where some of the difficulties from the previous question come into play, because strength staff has their little thing that they like to do, and the coaches have their little thing that they like to do, and the athletic training staff has their own little role. And instead, it should be a team effort where everybody blends those things together to create the approach that the athlete actually needs. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, the question kind of lends itself to think that load management is somehow a different concept in an athletic training setting than it is in a physical therapy setting or a strength and conditioning setting, but it's a universal concept, load management. And I think you hit on the key factor there is communication between staff and different professions. So an athletic trainer can't impart the load management concept if the sport coach and or the strength and conditioning coach aren't listening or don't want to hear it, or you know what I mean? So I'm sure that, John, you have obviously more experience with this than us, but I'm sure that there are settings, high school settings maybe in particular, where the sport coaches aren't going to listen to an athletic trainer who's telling them that they need to reduce their practice time for a particular athlete, or this athlete needs to go 50% intensity, or, a lot of the times in the high school, the football coach is also the weight room coach, and they're not a strength and conditioning coach. They're like a history teacher. And in the weight room, it's go, 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 and rah, 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 and they don't necessarily understand chronic workloads or acute spikes in workload as being a risk factor for injury. And so again, the athletic trainer can have all the concepts in the world. If it falls on deaf ears, it's really hard to manage that thing. So, and I don't have a solution to that, but I think communication is absolutely key in those endeavors.
Well, and it's one of my favorite quotes from Jim Wendler. He said it during an underground strength session, talking about coaching high school football. And he asked a guy in the front row, if me and you had a bench press competition this Friday, would you bench every day from here to then? And the guy looked at him and laughed and was like, God, no, that's terrible. And he points at him and says, then why do you beat the shit out of your kids every single day in football? And like half the crowd gasped. It was like a huge aha moment for a lot of them. And it's a kind of a punch in the face education, but we have to manage those things, and we have to make sure, especially with our younger athletes, that we really make sure that's managed well.